Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the final regular season edition of Around the League with James here on the Heedy Network. If you haven't already, please follow, like, subscribe to all the Heedy Network, Halos in the Infield social media team, all the shows here on YouTube. Check all those out, and to all our sponsors. First, gotta give a shout out to Top Fan Rivalry. We had the softball game 2 weekends ago down in Laguna Hills, and we had the top five fan rivalry shirts going with all the sponsors. Shout out, of course, again to the pizza store by OC Local. Oh, that pizza was so good. The barbecue chicken there is so good. So, yes, shout out to the top fan rivalry folks there. Great people. Saw them last night over at Bruheim as we had our final pregame and postgame show of the season there on Saturday. Todd and I and then others came to do the Angels pregame and postgame, and to put a bow on our uh, coverage at the stadium, and then at Bruheim. Great place there at 1931 East Right Circle. Just go there and use Heedy for specials, drink specials there. Great people there, work there. Missed the barley beer, barley mash beer, I think it was. Really good stuff. But they have a kiwi strawberry seltzer that I actually liked, and I didn't think I was going to, but it was good. Also, the OC dugout for all the signings and all the merchandise and memorabilia you would want to have. Definitely looking for some Magic or Walter Payton stuff. Shout out to Max Market Pros, by the way, too. You see on the bottom line here all the addresses and everything else here. And then also to 714 Tickets, where I got my ticket yesterday for the Angels game. And it was an easy, simple process. Make sure you put in the code HITI for 10% off. And that's for any game. Football's going right now. Basketball will be back. Hockey will be back. So I know hockey's in preseason mode right now. And also for the page here, forgot to mention the new show coming on that will cover the Anaheim Ducks with the two guys there. That will be coming up pretty soon. The football show there, the Unfiltered Sports Podcast, recapping the NFL. We just had a tie in week 4 of the Sunday night game. So every Tuesday night on this network, be sure to watch Todd, Dominic, Matt, and Randy as they break down their team's games and all the games, and also give you a preview for the next week, which will be week 5 of NFL games. Just a lot of shows going on. We had Vince come in this year, and he's been awesome. But along with Rob, Randy, Todd, Fernando, of course, with all the shows here. Just a lot of great people that I'm able to work with, and it was a pleasure to see them at the softball games. And by the way, there will be another softball game or games October 25th. Just go to Top Fan Rivalry. Just look out for notifications here on Heedy, and then also on Top Fan Rivalry as well for information, how to sign up and where to sign up. Easy process, and it was a lot of fun checking that out. What do I want to do first? Well, since the regular season ended today, we had some drama going into Sunday. In the National League, we had the Reds and the Mets fighting for the last wild card spot, and it ended up being the Reds losing 4-2. So you thought, okay, there's going to be a shot for the Mets to get in. But they gave up 4 runs right away to the Marlins, and they never scored again. And that was it for the Mets. A $339 million payroll, and they do not get into the postseason. They had a horrid last about 80 games, it felt like, where they just could not get everything together. Remember, they were baseball's best back in June, and Juan Soto was hot in all this time that they were struggling, but everybody else pretty much just couldn't carry the load. And it's just such a, I think, a big disappointment that the Mets couldn't get in, knowing that the Yankees, and they were wanting to, beat them and get into the playoffs themselves. They got their job done without Juan Soto, but instead you have um, Juan Soto on the Mets, and and he couldn't get into the playoffs. So Yankee fans are feeling good right now. Also, Pete Alonso told the media that he will opt out of his, I believe it was a 2-year deal that he signed in the offseason, seeing what he can get out there. So that might have been the last last game for Pete Alonso, the polar bear, Sunday night or Sunday afternoon. So, with all that being said, yeah, the Mets are the biggest disappointments out there, and the Reds, with all the young, scrappy guys managed by Francona, first year, and they got it done. They got to the wild card and won it, and that's what I was hoping for. At least like be in the race for that wild card spot, and then they actually did it, which is a big step for the Reds, for their season, for their game, for their future, and for right now. So it's a really great story for the Cincinnati Reds, and again, opposite for the New York Mets. Again, to have that big ass payroll and not be able to get in. Again, $339 million payroll and not get in the postseason. So the National League is all set. The American League, it came down to who was going to win the AL Central. And I can't believe this, but the Cleveland Guardians were down and out a couple of months ago. It felt like last month they were down and out. They made up all that ground. Detroit just went on a tailspin after September 10th. They just went on a tailspin, but they held on and got a wild card spot. But Cleveland overtook them for the Central, which was crazy to think. Just amazing to see that. And then the Astros, because of Cleveland winning Saturday on a hit by pitch, out of all the things to happen on the walk-off, a hit by pitch or for Cleveland to get the win, the Astros were eliminated on Saturday night. It was around the second inning, I believe, during the Angels-Astros game that we were at, that the Astros were eliminated, and they no longer needed to worry about the score or the game or whatever else, because it didn't matter. So the Houston Astros, for the first time since, I want to say, 2016, did not make the postseason. So just like the Dodgers, they went on a long run. The Dodgers, of course, longer and thorough, have made the postseason. But the Astros finally, don't make it. But when you think about it, they lost Kyle Tucker in that trade. They were not going to pay him, I guess, because he's a free agent. They lost Jordan Alvarez twice this year on injuries. And the worst time coming down the stretch, he slips on home plate when he runs, or turns his ankle over, I should say. And he's out for the rest of the season. That's a lot for Correa and Altuve to take on without Bregman, who, went to Boston and they made the playoffs. And I don't know how many people had Boston in the playoffs, but the bracket's all set. I'll get to all of that right now, looking at the bracket. But first, for the American League, the number 1 and number 2 seeds, Toronto and Seattle. Who the hell had that? But they get their byes. Number 3, Cleveland will host number 6, Detroit. So they say hello again. And also, the Yankees at number 4 seed will take on the Red Sox, number 5 seed. So they say hello again. Starting on Tuesday, the wild card series will commence. And These are series that will go from Tuesday to possibly Thursday. It's a 3-game series at the highest seeds ballpark. It's kind of the old way how they did the championship series, but they kind of flipped it. Whereas a 5-game series, like for instance, 1984, they had the first 2 games, I think, or first 2 games in Chicago, despite San Diego being the higher seed. Then they had the last 3 games at home, and San Diego was able to move on. So the National League, the wild card series go on as this. Well, first the bye weeks. Well, football. The byes are Milwaukee, number 1 seed, which nobody had, and then everybody had the Dodgers, and then number 2, the Phillies, which I don't think is a surprise, but they're missing Wheeler, they're missing Nola, or Wheeler for sure, but that's just a lot to overcome. We'll see how Philly, if they can outslug the opponents, but they'll wait for seeds 3 versus 6. That's the Dodgers hosting the Reds, and then the other wild card series, as I mentioned, as they met in 1984, the Cubs at the 4 seed and the Padres at the 5 seed. So whoever wins the Cubs-Padres series will take on the Brewers. And then whoever wins the Dodger-Red series, go Reds, will take on the Phillies. In the American League, as I mentioned, 3 versus 6, Cleveland and Detroit at Progressive Field in Cleveland will take on number 2 seed Seattle. And then you have Yankees-Red Sox will take on Toronto, who just held on to the division title. No one had that too. No one had Milwaukee and Toronto having the first seeds. It's just a credit to them. Even though they might have had slow starts, they were able to hold on. And then the wild card series, they'll be on a host of ESPN families of networks, so ABC, ESPN, ESPN2, ESPN Deportes. So you'll find it on the ESPN wildcard series. You'll find it on there. Saturday and Sunday will be the starts of the divisional series for each league. Lots going on, of course, with college football, and now you add into the MLB postseason. So it's crazy how this is all going to go for the playoff bracket. So the playoff bracket, check that out starting Tuesday during the day. Definitely be listening to it at work. All right, let's get to the final standings because you see who did bad, who did well. But so Tuesday it starts off with Detroit at Cleveland at 10 a.m. out here. Then you have the Padres at noon against the Cubs, and then Boston, New York at 3 o'clock. And then 6 o'clock, we'll have the Reds and the Dodgers. And then the series will have the same time slots Wednesday and, if necessary, Thursday. So that's the postseason picture right there, so to speak. So really quick, the standings for every league here. Toronto again, 94-68, winning the East. The West, Seattle, 90-72, and then Cleveland pulling out a miracle at 88-74. The Yankees, by percentage of record, run differential, get the first wild card at 94-68, Boston 89-73, and then Detroit 87-75, who kind of backed into the postseason again. They had a horrid last month or so. Houston loses on the last 2 days before the season ended with the same record, but again, they have the season advantage. The closest to Houston was Kansas City at 5 games back, Texas, who was up and down 6, and then you have the others. Tampa Bay 10 games back of the wild card. A's at 11, 12 Baltimore, the Angels, who were competitive at the deadline, 5 games back, went all the way down to 15. Yikes. Minnesota went down to 17, and then Chicago White Sox 27th. All right, for the National League, again, the Central winners had the best record in Milwaukee at 97 and 65. Philadelphia, the second highest record in the National League, 96 and 66. And then the Dodgers at 93 and 69. Wild card, again, the Cubs had the first one there, 92 and 70. They kept going back and forth until Milwaukee kind of pulled away there in August. They had the first one. San Diego at 90 and 72 gets the second one. And then Cincinnati just beats out the Mets at 83 and 79 with the same record. The Giants finish at 500, 2 games back. Arizona, who's just been up and down, they had a losing record, 80-82, but they were 3 games back. Miami, 4 games back. And let me talk about Miami real quick because they have such a young team, and I was thinking about this yesterday. I hope this new regime comes in and are not going to trade their high price prospects, high rank prospects, and when they get good, hopefully they can actually no, I'm contradicting myself. They're going to trade them eventually, but you hope that they have the race system where they get a lot back so they can retool like every 5 years. But hopefully they're like the Reds where they can actually, get to the postseason. But Miami had a better year. I know 4 games under isn't good, but for them, I think it's a step forward. St. Louis 5 games back, Atlanta 7 games back. They couldn't come back from the terrible start that they had and all the injuries. I think it was Charlie Morton's last game. He pitched a couple innings, then they took him out to a standing ovation in Atlanta. He was facing McCutcheon. They both nodded to each other. The Pirates, by the way, 12 games out of the wild card. Washington, 17 games out. And then the Rockies at 40 games out of the wild card, finished 43 and 119 to have the worst record. 3 games away from the worst record that would have been. Remember, the White Sox had 41 wins last year, 41 and 121. So that's been it. That's the standings for 2025. And now we get to October, which I like. I hate it when they played regular season games into October. I just thought that was wrong, to have that. All right, let's get to the some stats here, some crazy notes. And I just thought about it the other day. There was no hitters this season. Usually we'll get 2 to 3. That one year it felt like we had 7 or 8. But the MLB, looking at the stats here, they haven't had a no-hitter since September 4th of 2024. And there were 3 Cub pitchers to combine to beat the Pirates on a no-hitter. The last solo one was August 2nd of 2024. He was a Giant at Cincinnati, and that was happening. Since the divisional era, it's the first year since 2005 that there hasn't been a no-hitter. So that's amazing to look at that because usually there would be something that would happen. Something. There was 39 no-hitters in all since 2015. So it goes to show you the launch angle, the more, exit velocity off the bats. They're really hitting more than they used to, maybe. So even though it seems like the pitcher, they're getting checked for things, they're losing the advantage with their hitting, with their pitching there. As my phone freezes. Okay. I was going to check out the stats. I'm going to get that real soon here. But, what does everybody think about the no-hitters? I know the Yankees were close a couple of times this year. it felt like late in the year too, the Astros had a couple of close calls that they couldn't get the no hitters. And speaking of Astros, really quick, there was an incident where Framber Valdez, on purposely hit the catcher, and he was scrutinized for sure about that, and rightfully so. Just wanted to point that out because he's a free agent, and I'm wondering what the replications will be with what he's going to make and what he's going to do, or wherever he goes, how his relationships are going to be with his battery mate. So you have to wonder about that. Okay, since my phone isn't working there, I was going to show you this or see some stats, but the MVP race right here with Aaron Judge and Cal Raleigh. Raleigh hit 60 plus home runs, or I think he was stuck at 60. But for a catcher, he broke the all-time record for a catcher. And normally you don't have catchers hitting over 50 home runs. I think Piazza was kind of close there. Campanella, Johnny Bench. I don't think Ivan Rodriguez. I don't think any of them really got that close to hitting that many home runs. But I think even though Aaron Judge has a higher OPS and whatever else he may have over Cal Raleigh, I think it goes to show you, though, with Cal Raleigh doing what he did, I think even though Judge is more popular, I think just the fact that he hit more home runs than Judge, I think you should get it. I really do. Let's see what else. Yeah, I'm looking. My phone's not working. That's crazy. I was going to for the Angel season. Let's just talk about that because that was going to be the next topic. It felt like a roller coaster, and I think I explained this at the not tailgate, but the pregame show. It was at the at Bruheim, where it started off pretty well. The season had somewhat high hopes, and then it ended up not being really well for the team because starting like August, it started just to slip really. And it was really unfortunate to see that. By the way, I'm hoping for NL MVP that Kyle Schwarber will get that just because, without him and his power, they aren't where they are. I mean, Shohei's numbers are truly amazing, but I just it's almost the thing. Do you want Aaron Judge to win the MVP every year, or Shohei Ohtani to win it every year? Is it going to be a popularity contest? It's just you have to wonder what's going to happen with the MVP award. It's crazy my phone ain't working there. I'm about to restart. Okay, so with the Angels, like I mentioned, though, had a good start, but then the true colors came out. There were surprises with Adele and Ward having breakout years offensively. Ward was still shaky, and he had his crazy injury, of course. Adele, though, showed real great strides. Mike Trout actually played 140 games plus, I think, and even though he had a little injury. And he walked more, it seemed like. Mike Trout did. And really didn't expect that. And he finally got the 400th home run, which feels to me like a milestone. That should have been maybe 4 years ago. But, he finally got that. And, congrats. He'll have a bobblehead, next year for that. Let's see. If I can get my stuff back here. Yeah, with the MVP races, as I mentioned, um, with Aaron Judge and Otani winning it last year, you're just hoping this year is someone different, and hopefully the writers and everyone sees that. But we'll know about it later on. But yeah, the AL East, the Blue Jays getting the division for the first time since 2015. The Guardians making the playoffs 3 out of 4 years. Just exciting postseason everywhere that is going on, except the Angels. But I really hope you have um, not the World Series like last year. Anyway, going back to Angels season, it just felt like there was an array of crazy stuff happening, but not as much as years before. I think I was the only one that said on the programs that they would finish in last. Like the A's would kind of be not better off, but they wouldn't like where they are, but they would try to play better. That makes sense. Being in a new place, and they kind of did this year. They had Nick Kurtz, who showed really well. He might be the rookie of the year there. But this is the Angels' 10th straight losing season, the 11th missing the playoffs. Again, falling to last place. Ron Washington had his health issues. I think that was in June, I want to say, and you just wonder if he'll manage again. I know he wants to talk to Artie about managing, but maybe my pick at least, shouldn't come back, in my opinion. Kikuchi was the only lone all-star, but his ERA was over 4. As I mentioned with Award and Adele and Ward having breakout seasons, and then Neto being consistent. And he wasn't hit by pitch as much this year, if you noticed. But it felt like Ohapi and Soriano regressed a little bit. Ohapi, especially at the plate, just swinging too much for the fences. And then Soriano could not find a way to pitch well at home, but find a way to do it on the road. It's weird. Baseball's a mental sport, of course. Reed Detmers did well out of the bullpen after not having great starting appearances. He could have been an all-star as well. Kelly Johnson, I think, had a solid season. He was a leader coming out of the bullpen to be the closer. Went through a lot. His mom lost his mom in the offseason as well. But I think what hurt the team most was not realizing reality and just staying pat at the deadline and not making moves to help for the future. Giving up Ward, giving up Detmers, giving up, and Tyler Anderson, Kyle Hendricks, who may retire, maybe not. But there were moves to be made, and Artie just told, Manazian to stay put, basically. And that just sucks for the franchise, for the future. You saw a lot of the future come up, Guzman, Moore. They kept playing with Moore, sending him back and up and down. I didn't really like that, but maybe they felt like he was struggling that much to send him down first time for Moore. That's unfortunate. So the offseason is going to be drama-filled as well, with the audit of the stadium that will go against Artie, the Skaggs family lawsuit for $785 million. We'll see if they settle, if Artie settles, or does he really want to fight this again. And then you have what's going on across 57, the OC Vibe, constructing phase 1 out of 3. The Samuels doing everything great for Orange County across this 57 where the Ducks play, and then nothing going on where the Angels are playing. Some other things going on with Heedy this year. Next year will be the 5th season in June, I think it was, or May, the anniversary. Bruheim, again, great place. It became the hub for all of our events, basically. Great drinks, great time, great food trucks, by the way. They had pizza yesterday that was really good. The Ohapi and the Ohapi Bowl were just some of the events that happened down in Fountain Valley. The 714 and OC dugout signings. Shout out to those sponsors as well. The softball game with Top Fan Rivalry and the next one coming up. And then again with the Heedy shows with the Ducks pre and post game, all of our shows going on, the NFL show going on during the week. We still got so much going on, even in the off season. You don't have to worry about that. Now you don't have to worry about the Angels season because finally it's over. And you just, again, you felt like you missed out on a lot. You felt like you kind of you wish you were in October, but you knew this team was not going to make it, and it just felt like that with the Angels this year. It was really unfortunate. Excuse me. So yeah, Tigers were lucky to get in. I'm thinking about anything else that I had to mention. Again, there's some stats might help Judge get the MVP. Kershaw for the Dodgers won't be on the Dodgers roster for the wild card series, but he'll maybe join if they get to the divisional series. I was going to look up some other stats, but again, my phone's not working here. I think I'll cut it short here just because of that. Again, I hope the MVPs are different this year. I think Cal Raleigh, the big dumper, which is a weird name, hitting 60 home runs, that should get him in for the MVP. And then the candidates for, it's the Dodgers, it's Shohei, it's Schwarber, but hopefully Schwarber wins over that. But we'll see how the fans think. But shout out to the Brewers and the Guardians for making the postseason. Tigers' second year, and then everybody else. Seattle winning their division first time since 2001. That's crazy too to think about. And again, the Blue Jays since 2015 winning their division. That's just some crazy thoughts as you go into the postseason this year. The Angels, by the way, ending with the 72-90 record. Last year they were 63-99. 2 years in a row before that they won 73 games. So even though they improved 9 games, you still have that empty feeling of, well, it's not enough. And it never will be, as they lose the last series 2 out of 3 to Houston at home. That's all I got for you for the Around the League show. We'll probably do 1 or 2 during the postseason run. Maybe have some guests come on, and we'll have, maybe a World Series preview. Maybe go week by week or bi-weekly. We'll see what happens. Lots of sports going on. So be sure to go to 714 Tickets for all your ticket needs for all the sports or theaters or concerts out there. OC Dugout and for the memorabilia, make sure you go Max Market Pros to get your business out there. It really gets you out there. Again, the ticker has all the information behind or below me, and then Brewheim to go there for a nice night out. Very nice atmosphere. Everything's, awesome. All the TVs there, the decor, in and outside. The brewery, you can just see it all right there as you go to the back. Just a great place to go for a good night out with whomever. All right, we'll end the show here, but thank you for watching the Around the League show throughout the season. And now we get to the good stuff, the postseason. October is here. So see you next time, and, can't say go Halos, but whatever. Take care, folks.